So, after a week with the Fuji X-E5, I gotta say, it feels like a luxury upgrade over the XM5, but it also made my fingers hurt. Let me explain. I've been shooting with the Fujifilm X-E5 for a week now. And in a nutshell, it's been a fantastic experience. I've been having so much fun. I've been taking it everywhere with me to central London, with me to work so I can take photos after work. And I want to share my honest impressions of what I think about this camera so far. We're going to go through what I love, what I don't like, and how it compares to my previous camera, the Fujifilm XM5. So let me preface this by saying that this is going to be my opinion. I've definitely not mastered the Fujifilm X-E5 yet. And coming from the XM5, there are a few habits that I developed that are still haunting me. Like the exposure compensation dial on this camera. For my Fuji XM5, it was the shutter speed dial. So when I picked up this camera and started shooting, I obviously navigated naturally to changing the shutter speed through this dial, which is incorrect. So after a few days, or a day rather, of working it out, I've actually gotten more comfortable with it now. The front dial as well used to be my best friend. And the PASM dial is completely gone, so I'm still getting used to the camera. So let's talk about the likes. The first thing that I have to mention is the build quality. This camera definitely feels like a premium camera in my hand. It has a nice heft to it, and that metal construction on the top there gives it a really nice feeling compared to the XM5 that was very, very plasticky. So this does feel like a premium product. Now, the second like on my list is the neck strap. The neck strap is amazing. It feels great. It feels very premium. It's a nice touch. Although I'm not using it right now because I use more of the wrist strap. But still, it's a nice touch to include that neck strap. I used it for 2 days, had the camera around me, and it's long enough so that I can have the camera around my neck and not feel uncomfortable. With the Fuji XM5, it was short. It was a short leash that just reached just below my chest. So I was having issues navigating around and trying to take photos. But this one, no, it felt comfortable, even if I had it around my neck just to move the camera around. It's perfect. The third thing on my list is probably my favorite thing about this camera. Now, this is not exclusive to the XE5, but the EVF, oh my God, I did not know that the EVF was something that I was going to use all the time. I mean, this is hands down my favorite part about this camera. I love the classic view as well. I'll try to get some image on the screen there if that can help. But obviously, it's going to be very low resolution, so please don't judge me. Most of the photos I took this weekend and over the last week was with the EVF. I really, really enjoyed it. It's the kind of feature that you don't know you need until you try it. It was perfect, even bright light. It was bright enough that I could take photos whenever. The screen as well. The screen is pretty good. People are complaining that it's not got as many pixels as the other models, but didn't bother me. Like I didn't actually adjust the brightness on the screen. I left it as it is standard, and I had a great time. Even shooting during the bright sun this weekend, I had no issues at all. So let's talk about IBIS. And IBIS is a mixed bag for me. I'm not too sure what to think of it. Well, let's put it this way. For stills, so for taking photos at slow shutter speed, it's fantastic. It just works. I didn't have any issue even at night. It took great pictures. Even though I had cranked down the shutter speed, it just worked fine. For videos though, especially the ones where you would record yourself while walking and like have camera face you, they weren't all that. I thought the IBIS would play a major role or like a bigger role in there, stabilizing the footage, but my expectations weren't met. Maybe I was a bit unrealistic on this side, but I've expected at least like, I guess, iPhone level stabilization where you're walking with your iPhone and it's all stabilized, it's all feels great. So yeah, on that one, the jury's still out. So what I see right now is a comparison of the three different videos, one taken with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, one taken with the DJI Action 5, And the third one is the Fujifilm X-E5. As you can see, there's quite a bit of a disparity, but I guess my expectations were a bit different on this one. The mechanical shutter, the sound of every clicks is just so satisfying. I'm going to try and put like the sound of the shutter on screen so you can hear it, but I'm not sure it's going to do it justice. It was just amazing. Every shot that I took felt satisfying. It might not be looking the greatest on the screen or like when I took it out, but just taking that photo, it felt like it was a reward just hearing that shutter sound. Right, from my understanding, digital zoom is not for everyone, right? I mainly show JPEGs. So for me, having the ability to crop in camera is great. It just allows me to frame my photos a bit better before I actually take the photos. Yes, you might say it's a skill issue. You know, you're using a prime lens, walk, but in some situations, like I was at a park and I couldn't get close enough because there was a barrier. I want to take those photos and I didn't have the right correct focal length. It helped me in that time to remember that bit or take or frame my photo in such a way that I was happy with. So I am quite happy having an optical zoom on there, or digital zoom rather on there. Now, of course, there are things I didn't like about this camera. If you did get the kit, so with the pancake lens, you definitely will experience something that I have experienced the hard way. It's crunchy. Feels like I'm eating cornflakes in the morning. You can hear that chee 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 chee. It's loud. It's very loud. Even when I was taking videos, I could feel like it was just hunting, and you just had that loud autofocus noise. Not a big fan of that one. Now, the one thing we need to talk about is the battery. It carries the same battery as the Fujifilm X-M5, so I'm going to compare it directly. On the Fujifilm X-M5, on average, I usually got around 220, 230 photos before it died. Not on this one. It's advertised on the website that you will have about 330, but I didn't even get close to that. After 180 photos, 190 photos, the battery died. That means I had to use more batteries. It's a good thing that it's the same batteries though, because I've got 4 of them. So these batteries did come in clutch when I needed them. But if I didn't have them, I would not be very happy. Now we talk about the grip. Yes, that first part where I told you about my fingers hurting. That actually happened. So if you have a look at there, this is how I usually hold my camera. But I was feeling like a pain in my pinky because there's a sharp edge at the bottom. But also the camera didn't feel very stable, especially when I changed lens. So when I had my Viltrox lenses on there, they're not very heavy lenses, but they still felt like there was more pressure on my fingers because I was pinching the camera rather than gripping it. Well, to alleviate that issue, I had to get one of the small rig L mounts with the grip, which actually really helped. It really helped make my camera feel more comfortable. I could use it on an extended period of time, and also having the wrist wrap around my wrist, basically, and holding through that grip was just amazing. Now, for this one, I don't know if it's just me, but that screen on that swivel feels a bit flimsy to me. I was very comfortable with the XM5, popping the screen open, moving it on the side. It was just great. This one, though, it does feel a bit more flimsy. So, also, when you were taking photos, vertical photos, it wasn't very good help because it doesn't go down. Because the screen doesn't go down or open in that way, then you're not really seeing much of what you're shooting. So you rely on the EVF, but if you're taking a high shot, then you don't have that option where you're like moving your neck up, trying to see what's in focus, what is in the frame, what the composition is like. It doesn't make it very easy. So I wish Fuji used maybe some sturdier material. I don't know how sturdy this is, but it does definitely feel a bit flimsier to me. Maybe that's just a personal opinion, though. This is something I need to mention as well. If you're using any external microphone on the hot shoe mount, then you might have an issue because of the way the screen flips up. It's actually the microphone receiver would actually block that screen, so you would not be able to see much of it. And if you're holding it high for like a vlog style shooting, you will see even less of the screen. So yeah, I wish it was in a better placement, to be fair. Now, the new film simulation dial, it looks nice, but I'm still not sure about its placement. I think it being placed just above the sensor for the EVF, for the eye sensor, it just makes it a bit awkward because sometimes you go and try to move between FS1 or 3, or you're just changing your film simulation, and you end up turning it off the screen, so you can't actually tell what you're doing. So I found that if I want to change it, I usually just have to use my right hand, because trying to do it with the left hand is not going to work. Also, when you have your eye on the EVF and try to change the simulation, it's very awkward. It feels like, I'm going to poke myself in the eye with my thumb or something. So I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Now, this is a bit more of a bit, not deal breakers, but worth mentioning. What I've noticed definitely with this camera compared to my XM5 is the way the blues are rendered. They look different. Some of them pop more, some of them pop less. I've had mixed feelings with recipes that I've used quite a bit, but just had different results with this sensor. So I'm not too sure if I like it or not. So I'll have to keep going and stick to one recipe and keep going through it, and then see if actually I need to modify the settings for it. So let's conclude by saying, after a week with the Fujifilm X-E5, here's where I'm at. I love the sound of the mechanical shutter every time I take a shot. I really enjoyed having extra recipe slots on the camera. So there was up to 10, 3 FS3 and 7 of the custom ones, which were great. I love the digital zoom of the camera, which might be something that's not for everyone, but I did actually love it. Um, I know it does cut into the 40 megapixel sensor and all that, and the quality, but I show JPEGs. Having them um, cropped to a size where I can do my framing properly will help until I invest into better lenses, or lenses that works more with my focal length. Now, it's not a flawless camera. The grip, the autofocus, well, that's more the lens, but um, and the screen, there are the things that I think they could have had better screens or made it feel a bit more sturdy. Now, overall, I had a great time shooting with this camera. I love it. It's great, but the price might be a concern for some people. It's a great camera, but is it worth twice the price of an XM5? I think the jury's still out on that one. The XM5, now that I've tried it, I know and I recognize it. The XM5 is still a very good camera. Yes, if I was to move back to the XM5, I will definitely miss IBIS. Sorry, not IBIS, I mean the EVF. And yeah, other than that, I think like this is great. The XM5 is a great camera as well. I do like the 40 megapixel camera because when I do crop, I do still retain some resolution. If you're thinking about upgrading from the XM5, hopefully this gave you some perspective. These were obviously my opinion. I've used both cameras, and obviously I've not had enough time with this. Maybe a month later, I'll be like, you know what? I was wrong about my initial thoughts or opinion about this camera. There's actually so much more they can offer. But so far, I'm still learning it, and this is what I believe. Well, I'm going to end this video by saying thank you. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. And if you did, please drop me a like and subscribe at the bottom of the video so that you don't miss my next video. I've got a few planned videos coming out. It's either going to be about the Fujifilm recipes that I've used or the settings. If you guys have a preference, please do mention it in the chat there, or in the in the chat. I mean, in the comments below, and I do reply to every single comment. So, thank you again. So until next time, I'll say goodbye.